Good evening, cats and kittens. Thrash Pondo here, and I'm live, and I'm a couple minutes early. And I did that for no other reason than I was ready a couple minutes early. And I'm just going to very discreetly babble at the camera while I look in the comment section to see who our first catch of the day is. A little Star Wars reference there, although it sounded much creepier when I said it out loud. But TikTok, TikTok. Oh, come on. Usually at least one person's waiting by this point. By the way, I am gonna go back to using StreamYard when I go back to the personal computer. I just haven't been because I've been using the PC. I've been using the laptop, not the PC, the laptop, and for some reason, I'm really hit or miss with the laptop on the StreamYard. I just like the setup better. But when I use the personal computer, then I'll use StreamYard again just because I like the format a little bit better. But if I keep crashing, it's no good. Oh goodness, look who's here. Dan. Dan the breaking news man is here. He says hi, and I hope you brought some fun trivia bits for us tonight, young Dan. And yes, you are first. And thank you. Keith E is here. He says, "Hey, good to see you're not having a problem, at least not yet." And Justin's here from the Braidwood Inn. He says, "Robert is have bad problems with StreamYard." Um, sporadically. For some reason, sometimes I freeze up. Sometimes it goes off without a hitch. I mean, you regular folks who've been through all of my StreamYards know there have been a couple of times nothing goes wrong whatsoever, but sometimes it freezes up. I gotta detach the camera, come back in again. Um, it's hit or miss, and that can be frustrating. The weirdest thing is that I don't want to jinx it, knock wood. Today on Tugs, I didn't freeze up at all. And it was funny because I've been having some internet issues today because we had a really nasty storm here in the New England area today. And he goes on to say, "I do too." Yeah, some people do, some people, and no one's sure why. Dan says, "What's the trivia plan for tonight?" Oh, I'm so glad you asked, Dan. I'm so glad you asked. A lot of people seem to enjoy my little song title game last week, so I decided to give it another attempt. I even have a cool, neato, keen thrash pondo name for it. It's called Working Titles. See what I did there? Because you actually have to work to get the titles. And it's going to be I've taken the title of a song, I've rephrased it in some weird manner, and you have to deduce what the song is. And we can all play as a group. It's not cutthroat. So people who have a tough time getting the answers don't have to feel left out. They just have to keep reading the comments until somebody else gets it. And then they go, "Oh, I was just about to get it myself, actually." So anyway, that's the plan for tonight. I might alternate. I might do this some weeks and regular trivia others, but it was fun and I want to mix it up a little bit. Justin says, "My mic goes haywire when I try to do a live one on StreamYard." Oh, Sean Innes is here. He says, "Mark me present to Keithy." Sean, so glad you can make it. Great to see you. Darrell Johnson's here. He goes, "Bob, other brother, so good to see you." Keithy says, "Sean is here fashionably early." Yeah, we're all early. It's not even 7:30 yet. But all of us are here having fellowship, and that's all that really matters. And Lance Chafin is here. He says, "Hey, Thresh. Lance, so good to see you for the second time today. Great to see you, my man." Terrell Eugene Bellinger too says, "Hello, everyone. Happy Sunday." Terrell, so great to see you. Ted, welcome to the party, as is always. Olin says, "I was just on with Chance." You know, I'd love to do something with Chance sometime down the road. Sundays are usually kind of crazy for me. I'm just back to work, so my schedule is kind of chaotic. But I hope Chance can either stop by and say hi at some point today. But otherwise, guys, I know you all know Chance, the Nostalgia Pod Blast, but if you haven't, check him out. He's been putting out some great material. Dan says, "I will try to do some on the fly," assuming his trivia, to come up with some, if that's okay. On the fly is the best kind. I've actually found if you come up with a trivia question off the top of your head, it's usually much more fresher and fun. Sometimes the best are less scripted. I have a couple random trivias of my own. I might even throw your way actually. How are you on World War II trivia? I got some doozies. Moving forward, a lot of people just saying hello to one another, so I'm gonna skip down and catch up. Justin said, "We'll do it live." We certainly will. And Lynn says, he had a hot lady on. Ooh, those are always nice. Let's see what we have to. Okay, we're up to 7 people on camera and 3 likes. We can do better than that, people. Oh, by the way, as I was saying on Tugs today, I'm gonna make a concerted effort to look directly into the camera when I'm not reading the comments. I have this, and as I watch my own videos, I do it all the time. For some reason, you'll see me, and I'm looking like this. It's like I'm not looking at when I'm talking to you, and it's because I'm a narcissist. No, not really. I tend to like stare at myself talking, and it's just because I want to see like if I'm maintaining some type of professional visage. But it looks like I'm looking away, so I'm going to try to look at the camera as much as is humanly possible. Oh, Mr. Wilkinson is here. Says, "Good evening, Bob. Good evening to you, Christopher. So nice to have you back with us. And again, thank you for your presence. I got. Have you seen how many hits I got from that? I even got a new subscriber, another young lady named Sarah. So thank you for the presence and thank you for the content material, Machiavelli content material. Dan says World War II trivia. I would crash and burn most likely. We'll hold off on that then. Sean Innes says 8 batty bats. And Keith, he says nice book to Kenneth. And Justin says we can say hot lady until the woman arrive. LOL. A hot lady can just be someone who needs to put the AC on. There's nothing inappropriate. Lance could have been just saying the lady was very warm and verklempt. Let's just see what else we got going on here. A lot of people saying hello to one another. Oh, Keithy says World War II trivia, and the answer is Audie Murphy. He had such a tragic end. I'm sure Steve could do a wonderful live and set ending on him. To those of you who don't know, he was able to ride the crest of his super heroic war record. He had like movies and endorsements and was able to make a nice living after the war. Sadly, the only thing that gave him the rush and exhilaration of his wartime actions was gambling, and he lost everything. He lost everything to gambling. It's a very sad story. John says World War One trivia and have all the answers be what did Blackadder say? I know what his last line was. Good luck, everyone. And that has actually stayed with me all these years. Just even Captain Darling, who he hated, when they're all going over the top, he's just like, "Good luck, everyone." And it's a surprisingly powerful scene for such a comedy. But I love the Blackadder's, and I don't know if World War One is my favorite. The Elizabethan might be my favorite. Um, Although I loved George as Hugh Laurie as Prince George in the third one. But anyway, there's not a bad apple in the barrel. Oh, Gary Carpenter's here says, "Greetings, guys and ghouls. I'm back. You promised me you'd be here, Gary, and it's so nice to see you." Oh, Tim says, "R.I.P. M. Emmett Walsh." Yes, for those of you who hadn't heard, Mr. Walsh died. He's one of those character actors, and I guarantee you've seen him in something. Um, Probably, I'd say the most mainstream thing I can think of off the top of my head is MASH. He did some episodes of MASH, but anyway, he had a prolific career, and he will be sorely missed. Len says, "I'm the only wrench in here." So far, yes, I think you're right, but you're not a wrench in the works. A lot of people saying hi. Oh, breaking news, man says, "Breaking news. I have diabetes, and I just went on Friday to my 3-month doctor appointment. My AIC is below 7 now, and I lost weight." Sounds like Jardian's commercial. Jardian, did I say that right? Commercial. Is that the one where the girl sings and um I learned to control my AIC, A1C, AIC, AOC. Um, all kidding aside, that's great news. My grandmother had diabetes. A lot of people I know have diabetes. Tug has diabetes, and it's good when it can be controlled. Justin says, "Do you remember the last line in the Elizabeth one?" If I could just get the voice right. Oh, the entertainment headquarters is here. He says, "Hello, Thrash Pondo Pawns and his amazing audience." Kevin, you are amazing yourself. Actually, guys, if you haven't subscribed to the entertainment headquarters, please do. If you have subscribed, please watch the post we did on them, among others. Kevin's done some excellent other posts in there as well, but you got to watch them. We're both very proud of that one. Sean says to Dan, "Me too. I'm on Ozempic. Grrr. Ozempic. This is becoming a love letter to the big pharmacy." Lance says, "I am type 2. I'm type A negative." Watchamin is here. Watchamin says, "Hello, everyone." Oh, and of course, subscribe to Watchamin. Although, every time I plug in a channel guest, you guys have all already joined their channels. But hello, Watchamin. So great to see you. As always, Gary Cameron says, "I'm on the borderline. Made me feel like lose my mind. Now I just can't." The Madonna song from her first album, I think. You keep on pushing me over the borderline. And Sean says, congrats on getting it under 7 on the A1C. Thank you, A1C. And to Thrash Pondo. Lynn saying hi to headquarters. What do you mean saying hello to everyone? Kevin says, yes, it was a great discussion, and you will be returning real soon with our Shogun review. Did you see the last episode? Oh my god, I love the last episode. How many episodes are in this reboot? I Another thing I want to do, and I can't say I will. I want to go back and rewatch the original series. I own it. I own it on DVD. I will try. I can't guarantee it. I remember a lot of it, but Toshiro Mifune as Lord Toranaga, and and I really like how they're playing the translator. I can never get meet you in St. Louis. I can never pronounce her name properly, but she's really cool in the first one, but she's sort of demure. This one is no nonsense. But I'm giving the game away. Yes, watch for us. Kevin and the entertainment headquarters, and of course, DJ Anubis himself, James Corporate, in an upcoming retrospect on the Shogun reboot. Lan says Emmett Walsh was in Red Scorpion and Blade Runner. Yes, he plays the police chief in Blade Runner. And Shannon says to Dan, currently holding steady at 5.2 on the A1C. I don't know the numbers too well, but I'm guessing that's pretty darn good. Good job. And Mr. Wilkins says, good evening, entertainment. And Gary Cameron says, there's a new Beetlejuice movie. I know. Our friend Dr. Redfield on, pardon me, on Things to Rot Your Brains just did a top 10 things you didn't know about Beetlejuice. In the spirit of it. So check that out when you can. Kevin says, also, I just dropped by Ghostbusters Frozen Empire review and the remake of Roadhouse. I went to see the Roadhouse one today, but I ran out of time. Roadhouse is one of my favorite guilty pleasure movies. Can't wait to watch it. I'm assuming it's the original, not the remake. And Justin says, remember that movie that had Emmett Walsh and the two Back to the Future cast members? Give me a second on that one. Shannon says, hello to a bunch of us. A lot of people saying hello to one another. I don't remember that movie, Justin. Please fill us in. And some people are not sure they say hi to everyone, so they're covering their bases. And Kevin says, I have been busy with work and filling content on the channel. I was waiting for at least 3 episodes to binge watch it all. That might be the best way to go. That might be the best way to go. It's fresher that way. Dan says, happy 50th anniversary to Little House on the Prairie. Very kind of you. That's very, very sporting of you. And Gary Cameron says to Dan, Adam Family is 60. Wow, that's crazy. 60. And Shannon says anything under 6.0 is considered normal range. 6 to 6.5 is pre-diabetes. Over 6.5 is type 2. Lev Jamin says, thought you were bigger. And Terrell says to Briarwood in Camp Nowhere. Oh, wait a second. Camp Nowhere. Yeah, hang on a sec. That was like an 80. Wasn't that a made-for-TV movie in the 80s where the two halves of the camp have like a little civil war with one another? And the rival dude is sort of a like a wicked Lieutenant Needlemeyer type, and wasn't someone the working class girl from Facts of Life, I believe, is in it too. Help me out on that one. But I think I do remember seeing Camp Nowhere. Very good. Oh, Mike Silva's here. Mike Silva, how you doing? Kevin Murphy, Jefferson Starship, The Next Generation is playing this Saturday at High Regency Ballroom if you want to go. I saw Jefferson Starship in like 85. Great concert. And Mike Silva says, come on, Itchy, we'll watch Harry and the Hendersons again. Come on in, Max Headroom. I missed the show Max Headroom. I used to have some collector's cups for Max Headroom. 30 Seconds into the Future. Gary Cameron says, RIP to Joe Camp. Mike Silva says, it's Lord Helmet. We need ludicrous speed. Brad Woodin says, it also has Burgess Meredith and Peter Scolari. I don't think I've seen the movie since it aired in the 1980s, but I don't remember. I remember it vaguely. I don't remember those cast members, but very good catch, Justin. Sean says to Gary, RIP, Dan Wakefield, and Cass Warner. Darrell says, please hit the like button. Definitely, guys. Come on. We're 14 and 9. We can do better than that. Sean says, Dan Wakefield created James at 16. See, that's all, folks. James at 16, and Cass Warner is the granddaughter of one of the Warner brothers and mother of Cole Hauser. Oh, okay. You know, it's funny. I was just talking to my wife about James at 15/16. I guess she had a huge Crenshaw. Wouldn't it be nice to be in your shoes? On Lance Kerwin of James, and of course Salem's Lot. He was also in Duffy Moon, and he was actually in a lot of things. He was a very big child star. And Len says, like button smash Daryl. Kevin says, I just bought a Blu-ray. The Doug McClure Fantasy Adventure Triple Bill. Wow. Sounds like a I love his Amicus films, the ones that were adapted from like old story, like Is That the Earth Core in there? That's probably my favorite. Lend the Time Forgot is also good in a schlocky kind of way. I don't like The People That Time Forgot, by the way. Thought it was a disappointing sequel. Gary Cameron says, I saw the Eagles farewell tour. That is cool. Squared. Len says, Happy Days is 50 years old now, too. Kevin says, Keith E says, Kevin Bacon is going back to Footloose High School for their 40th reunion and their current prom. Mrs. Thrash was telling me about that. She is over the moon for that. Kevin says, also, I've been a bump who needs to get back on track with my weight loss. I lost 2.5 stone. That would be about 20 pounds. In weight here before the pandemic. Put someone back on. I need to get back in gear. Actually, a stone is 16 pounds, isn't it? So 40 pounds. 40 pounds by my calculations. One of the two, 20 or 40. I'm going to go with 40. Very good. Very good. I got to start my weight loss program again, too, by the way. I am preparing myself in here. That's half the battle. Daryl says, which year did you catch their farewell tour? Good question. Sean. Len says Beverly Hills Cop and Ghostbusters is also 40. Yeah, guys, 1984 was a really, really, really awesome year. Contrary to what the book speculated, Sean says Enemy Mine, Lance Kerwin is in the beginning of that. That's right. That's right. He's the co-pilot who has a date with the chubby girl. I'm not fat shaming. I just that's how it just anyway. You'll understand if you see it. Besides, try to accuse me of fat shaming. Tracy is here. Says, yeah, everyone. Tracy, it's so awesome to see you, by the way. And I love that cat post you posted where the cat looked like a certain fascist dictator. That was absolute riot. Um, Teb says Camp Nowhere with Christopher Lloyd, Thomas F. Wilson, Doc Brown, and Biff Tannenbaum from Back to the Future. I had forgotten that. Yes, you were absolutely right. It was him. Came out 1994, 30 years ago. Not in the 80s. I think I'm confusing two completely different films. The plot synopsis I gave only moments before, I want to repeat it. Is that from Camp Nowhere? Or am I thinking of a different film? Because I would have sworn it was a film I saw when I was still in high school. Could there be two similar films? I don't know. Just gonna skip down here. Oh, Indy Spouts is here. Says 2.5 stones is like 35 pounds thrash. I was remarkably close, and Indy, I knew you would know that. Indy, welcome to the party. And way to sneak in here with knowing. Entry says, "Watch it, sucker. I'm a chubby." No, you are absolutely not. You are absolutely not Tracy Bubala. You are perfect the way you are. I'm a chubby. Only I sort of push the limits of chubby. And Kevin says, in the triple bill set, there's At the Ice Core, my favorite. Warlords of Atlantis, I have that one too. And The Land That Time Forgot, wow. It actually, I like all three of those. Those are all good, fun movies. I like all of them. In fact, no, I don't. I own Warlords of the Deep. I'm sorry, yeah, Warlords of the Deep, Warlords of Atlantis rather. Own Warlords of Atlantis, but one of the other two I don't own, and I can't remember which one it is that I don't. Dan says I thought they were talking about kidney stones. Ooh, 35 pounds of kidney stones. That would really hurt. Chris says, "Yeah, I am getting over my flu. Oh, you poor thing. I'm so sorry, not feeling well." Lance says, "I'm sorry, Tracy. Keep getting well." What he said. I'm gonna skip down. Teb says, "Thresh, you were thinking of the movie Poison Ivy with Michael J. Fox and Nancy McKeon." Yes, that's exactly what I was thinking of. I must have confused that with Camp Nowhere. Yes, was Biff in that too, or who plays the Needlemeyer style fascist ultra right wing military caste camp counselor of the rival side in that? Help a brother out here. And Dan says, I'm not chubby. I have flexible muscles. I like Garfield's best. I'm not overweight. I'm under tall. Although, what I used to say years ago is that I am gravitationally challenged. Trust me, gravity is not my friend. And I'll just say, shh. Oh, Kenneth also, Mr. Wilkinson also says, hope you feel better to Tracy. And Justin says, the last line of Blackadder 2 is, life without you would be like a broken pencil, pointless. Okay. Edmund's last line. I want to be pedantic here. Edmund's last line is, life without you would be a broken pencil. And he goes, pointless. But the last line is that little tag after the credits when they're all dead, and Prince Rupert, now in the guise of Queen Elizabeth, says, I'm really going to enjoy this costume if I can just get the voice right. The idea being that Prince Rupert has not been killed, and he's going to take over the kingdom because he's the invincible, and then he's killed all the inner circle and is now going to take over the state, which is really funny because years later he plays Prince George, the Prince Regent, as if he managed to alter the bloodline, which makes no sense because Queen Elizabeth had no children. I think I'm reading way too much into it. But anyway, let me know if you know whereof I speaks. Uh, Sean says beer muscles. Oh, Tracy's thanking people who wished her well. Um, I have not heard from RNG Lance actually, but in fact, I haven't had a chance to do much of her stuff. I've just been too busy during the day. Sean says, Dylan's Chief, and I haven't been able to make her live streams for a while, but I haven't gotten alerts for anything or a couple of weeks. Hope she's okay. Yeah, I hope she's okay too. But like I said, I've been too busy during the weeks anyway. I'll have to check out her channel, see what new stuff is. Only 257 is here and says, still here, guys. 257, I'm so glad you were here. Didn't know when you got here. Did I miss your first comment saying hi, I'm here? Anyway, 257. So glad you're still here. So glad you got here. It's so great to see you. BK on the air is here and he says, hey, Thrash and everyone. BK, Barry, my buddy. So glad to see you. Everybody say hi to Mrs. Thrash. Poor Mrs. Thrash had to work late tonight. She was supposed to be done at 6 and is just getting home now. The mall must have been a disaster area. She is signaling yes. Disaster area it is. Oh, and she found the food that I made for her on the stove and is gleeful, is very, very happy. She actually made herself a little dinner. So she doesn't have to come back to, but I didn't want her to just feel like that was all she was gonna have. So I made her this nice big giant casserole dinner. Aren't I a wonderful husband? Mm. Anywho, but Barry, so great to see you. Glad you could make it. A lot of people saying hello to Barry and everyone else. 257 says Pawns had to switch accounts. Oh, you had to switch accounts. Oh, okay, I get it. I get it. Um, uh, but I wasn't. Now that makes perfect sense. But sometimes you come in as 257. I don't really think that I missed your arrival, but good to see you, Mike. Anyway, just jump. Wow, I must have. While welcoming my wife home, I must have been like babbling. Okay, here we go. That's what it counts. Tim says Adam Baldwin of My Bodyguard and Fire. Oh, he was. Oh, it's a summer camp movie from years ago. He plays the bad guy. Oh, she's like, oh, yeah. He plays this sort of neo-fascist uh, army dude type, officer corps type, and yeah, she had a crush on Adam Baldwin. Oh, we were talking about Lance Kerwin earlier too. Oh, she's melting. My wife's melting. What am I, chopped liver? I'm right here. Anyway. So anyway, yeah, Adam Baldwin was in that movie. Gary Garber says, I haven't seen Master of the World yet with Vincent Price. You haven't seen Master of the World with Vincent Price yet? That was one of my favorites. I'm not going to give the ending away, but I actually teared up the first time I saw the ending. It's really good. And if I remember correctly, Charles Bronson is in it. Oh my God, John Doe is here. He says, I'm here. John Doe is here. And I want to thank John Doe publicly, by the way. John Doe, he lives in this very nice part of New York City, Brooklyn specifically. And he had been talking about it before, and I missed some of the key details. He sent me these two really, really cool documentaries. One is on the Battle of Brooklyn, and another one, it actually is with Dave Hartman, and it's this like walking tour of Brooklyn that was very informative. I love David Hartman since I saw one. Was it Island at the Top of the World? Sit at the Top of the World? Something at the Top of the World. But anyway, here let's just see where we are. Oh yeah, Kevin says maybe Thrash we could do a live chat on your channel one Sunday afternoon and talk about one of the films and get your audience involved. I would love it. I would love to do that. And Justin says I could take it a step further because Edmund Rowan Atkinson played Constable in Thin Blue Line in '96. He certainly did. He certainly did. That was a good show too. I didn't watch that one as faithfully, but I did watch it. Sean says, hello, Mrs. Thrash. Everyone's saying hello to Mrs. Thrash. Excellent. Oh, and she says hello back. 257 says, Pons, there is a Greg Baker in the UK. I did not know there was a Greg Baker in the UK, but I'll take your word for it. And Gary Carpenter says, hello, Mrs. Thrash. A lot of people saying hello to Mrs. Thrash. And oh, Dan just jumped off. He says, Pawns, how was the weather that went through there in the past week? Last night, it was so cold and so wet and so rainy and so windy. It was absolutely. I had to go to my deck at one point, and I had to come back, and it was just too cold. When the wind was going like right through you. Sean, this is casserole. Num 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 num. And 257 says, anyone from the UK knows what I am talking about. That is very, very, very cool. Super cool. And I'm racking my brains. Greg Baker. I know Tom Baker. And I know, well, I'll take your word as well. And Ken says, do you ever, and I've been to England too. I've been to London. Anyone from the UK knows what I am talking about. And Mr. Wilkins says, do you ever cook at your restaurant? Bob? No, one little grease fire, and they don't let me cook anymore. No, I pretty much server bartender. Tracy says, okay, guys, help me. If it was a real fight between Rocky and Creed, who would win? I want to get your take, guys. I'd bet on Creed. I'm sorry, I'd bet on Creed. And Daryl Gunn says, with those glasses off. Superman. The problem is I'm reading comments tonight, so I have to leave them on. And Justin says, didn't Adam Baldwin play a member of SOB in Ordinary People and Full Metal Jacket 2? Kind of typecast. Ordinary People? I don't remember him in Ordinary People. Full Metal Jacket, yes. He played when they hook up with the Marines that are trying to siege that building at the end. He's one of those, and he is an SOB. But Matthew Modine stands him down toe to toe. It's a great scene. A little toss, a little toxic, toxic masculinity. But things happen. And Gary Cameron says Charles Bronson was in House of Wax. He certainly was. Only 2,000 says 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Thunderbirds are go. Greg Baker was involved in Thunderbirds are go. Okay, now we're on the same page. Did he do the movie? Shooting star will shoot you. Only 257 says my staff member is watching 60 minutes. Lynn says Tracy. I was on Podbless stream before Thrash. And 277 says it's about social media. And 277 says last night a lot of rain ponds. It certainly was. And Lynn says, and he was on Tug stream too. Yeah, you did 3 streams today. Islands in the. Oh, speaking of the devil, Tug is here, and he says, "I am here." Yes, and we've been waiting with breath that is bated. So good to see, and you're just in time too, because at 8 we have a new working title game. And Sean says, "Yeah, we went back to a wet winter this past week here in New England. It's supposed to get back to spring starting next Wednesday, I think. We'll have to think positively." And Kevin says, I'm from the UK and I know what you're talking about. And 257 says, headquarters, I found out about Greg from the internet. I see. And Sean says, Tim Hutton punches him outside the swim team practice in Ordinary People because he says something about his girlfriend, Elizabeth McGovern. She was so cute back then. Now I got you, but I haven't seen Ordinary People in years, but I do remember what you were in reference to. And Lance Chapin says, Thrash Chan says, I'll tell him thank you. Tell him I said hi back to him. I'm just going to skim through. Gary Cameron says, Monster from a Green Hell was pretty good. It really was. It was surprisingly good. Tug says, battling your breath will make you smell like a fish. Oh, baiting your breath will make you smell like a fish. Now I'm with you. It would, wouldn't it? Well, it depends on what you're baiting with. 207 says, Warriors come out to play. Yay! And Sean says, Braid went in. I went through a phase watching Ordinary People over and over. I've actually watched it twice recently. It's a very sad movie. It's a very, very sad movie. I don't know if I could watch it with regularity. It's amazing cast, though. I love Donald Sutherland, and Mary Tyler Moore is amazing. Tug says, "No worries, Tracy, and you're welcome again, Lance." Lance James says, "Warriors, badass movie. It certainly was. Love it." 257 says, "There is a restaurant called Greg's in the U.S." I did not know that. I believe you, but I did not know that. And Justin says, "Yes, it is that kind of movie, Sean. He watched a few times this year." He goes on to say, "Mary Tyler Moore is better at drama than comedy. She really is. I'm surprised she didn't do more dramas." And Dan says, "Pawns, have you ever done split screen with another person on your channel?" On my channel, no, because I was going to. In fact, um, uh, uh, Danny Staten and I were going to do that probably 2 years ago, but it's hard to do on YouTube. Now that I have StreamYard, I was going to try it again, but then I was having problems with it crashing on me. But no, I have not as yet. But I'm willing to give it a shot. 257 says King Kong 33 versus 05, definitely 33. That was the movie I saw when they shut down Massachusetts during COVID. They were showing it on the big screen. Gary Kramer says, T, what do you think about Catwoman on the Moon? Amazon Woman on the Moon, you mean? Loved it. Sean says, yeah, I was studying Donald Sutherland's character. Now that I am hit at this age and my son is an adult, I can see that. Tracy said I cried in Ordinary People. Me too. Me too. Oh, Lancy prefers the 05. Hey, no wrong answer. I'm just gonna skip down really, really quick. Oh, and Daryl says Danny going to bring Bigfoot with him. Oh, we were going to talk about Bigfoot and Wild Boy. That was going to be the discussion. Gary Carpenter says I just saw Zontor. It was fair. Zontor, I think, from Venus. I like the original, the thing that conquered the world. I like that better, but Zontar was pretty darn good. And Tug says, if it weren't for KK-33, King Kong, Ray Harryhausen might have become an astronaut or a cowboy. And Kevin says StreamYard works best on YouTube, and things went smooth during our them review. So yeah, so we're gonna give it a shot. We'll definitely give it a shot. Oh, and Lynn says Godzilla 89 Sting should have been Night of the Iguana. Big Iguana eats New York. And John Doe says Thrash. Okay, I fixed it. How was the Ducks? Oh yeah. I'm just saying. Maybe you would have been away. I was just telling everybody that I love the documentaries. They were very, very good. I've always been a fan of David Hartman. And as a history major, the battle one was very, very interesting. And Tug says Catwoman on the Moon is a real movie. Yes, but I can't remember if I've seen it. I have seen. If you mean Amazon Woman, I have seen it. Catwoman on the Moon. I'm not 100%. I'm not 100%. I may have seen an MST3K treatment on, so that I will have to abstain on. But anyway, hey, how about the game, huh? Shall we start the game? Yeah, Thrash, start the game. Are you sure I want to start the game? Yeah, Thrash, start the game. Okay, I guess I'll start the game. So I'm going to have to look away from the comments for a while, or at least I will only be able to address them sporadically, unless they're in a context of the game that we are currently playing. And if those of you if you haven't seen this game before, this is how it works. What I do is I take a song title, one that most, if everyone knows, and I rearrange the words to the title. I give them all new words, and then you have to figure out what the song I'm talking about is, because it sounds much stranger with unfamiliar words. Oh, did Brogu get here? I see people. Yeah, there he is. Everyone says Brogu says hello, everyone. Hello to Brogu. So good to see you. And I just want to make sure I didn't miss anyone else. So far, no. Okay, so I'm going to start with, as always, in no particular order. I'm going to start with number 10. And number 10 is the warmest season of the last year of the seventh decade of the 20th century. I shall repeat. The warmest season of the last year of the seventh decade of the 20th century. John Doe says, at Thrash. And to you as well, by the way. And, Justin, good. Tug. You're so close. I said seventh, not eighth decade. Where's Yep, I knew Indy was just gonna like beep and Indy for the win. It's the summer of '69. Um, Tug, I'm gonna guess that was a typo. Oh, yep, it is. It was a typo. Summer of '69. So, and it looks like a lot of you people knew that one. So, yes. So we all understand how the game works. Good. Moving on to number 9. Refrain from seething the faith. I shall repeat because my speech impediment kicked in there. Refrain from refrain from ceasing the faith. Did I say it right that time? Yes. Refrain from ceasing the faith. Wow, I didn't even have to repeat it. Justin could see into my mind. Yes. Wow, a lot of you got that one too. Yes, don't stop believing. Yeah, very good, very good. You guys are on the ball tonight. Excellent, excellent. Number 8. Domicile of the former Empire of Japan. I shall repeat. Domicile of the former Empire of Japan. Sean for the win. Wow. Am I making these too easy? Well, you know what? We'll just have to endure easy for a while. Yes, you guys got it correctly. It's House of the Rising Sun. How are your nums? Apparently, the food was good. I shall now move on to number 7. Number 7. The person who identifies as a female rendered me without sight through empiricism. Oh, Mrs. Thrash got that one. I shall repeat. She's smirking at me. Number 7. The person who identifies as a female rendered me without sight through empiricism. Let's see if we get it. Yep, Tug got it. Oh, and by the way, those of you who if your answers are coming in after I always say it, sometimes there's a lag. Sometimes it dawns on people. Regardless, if this is an honor system, if you guys figured it out, give it to you. Give yourself the win. But again, we're playing this as a group, as it were. And yes, I'm trying to say. I believe Sean says, nope, that was really my first one right. Still very, very, very good. And but I believe Tug got this one first. It was "She Blinded Me with Science" by Thomas Dolby. And I look at one person just said Thomas Dolby. If you can name the artist, that's good enough for me in this case. It just shows you know the song I'm talking about. Because every now and then, believe it or not, every now and then, um, the title of a song is different from the title we remember. Sometimes we attribute a colloquial title to a song. But if you get the artist, then you know the song I'm talking about. But in any event, number 6, 32,000 pounds. And no, I'm not talking about myself. I will repeat 32,000 pounds. Ooh, Indy. I thought that one was going to be a little too like not enough input, but bam. Oh, Tracy, you have to crash out. Neither to you. I know you have to work tomorrow, don't you? Besides, you're not feeling well. Tracy, it was so nice of you to drop by tonight. Good luck with getting better from the flu. Keep those hilarious Facebook posts, and have a good day at work tomorrow. And Texas math is hard. I knew at least one person was going to have a problem with the math, even though that happens more than once in this game. But yes, 16 tons. Ooh. Number 5, Sabbath, plasma coated Sabbath. Mrs. Rash like, ew, gross. I'll repeat it. Hey, it's your group. Sabbath, plasma coated Sabbath. And she already got it. And you guys all did too. Wow. Dan says, question, a color of a child's floating object in the air and one less than 100. 99 red balloons, which of course in German is 99 Luftballons. But Dan, thank you for the interjection. If I missed an earlier one, by the way, I apologize. You guys are answering this with such rapidity that I'm trying to stay on top of the answering. But yes, what a lot of people get 99 red balloons as well as Sunday Bloody Sunday. She's like, ew, gross. Number 4. Uh, your actions caused my revolving in a circular fashion. She's already laughing. In the manner of a vinyl disc. I flubbed again. All right, because listen to her. I'll from the top. Your actions caused my revolving in a circular fashion in the manner of a vinyl disc. You guys you're too good at this. Yes, you spin me right around like a record, babe. You spin me right around. You know, I can't think of that song without thinking of the wedding singer. Every time I, I think of that song, all I think it was the wedding singer. Moving on to number 3. Okay, this one's a little tricky, but I know you guys are going to get it. 804.7 kilometers. One will at some future point attain a state of being. I shall repeat. I can see you already getting your calculators out. 804.7 kilometers. One will at some future point attain a state of being. Let's see what we got here. John Doe says, which movie with a fictitious band was the best one, i.e., Blues Brothers, Spinal Tap, movies like that? That is a great question. That really is a great question. You know the one I always come back to? Not that I love the Blues Brothers, I love Spinal Tap, I loved Mighty Wind. But if you're just talking about a movie with a great fake band, I'm gonna go with Streets of Fire. No more counting each tear that falls for my copyright infringement. But yeah, I love the neo noir doo wop band. In that, I always wondered why they didn't want to become a thing. Probably because they weren't a real band. One of the backup singers in that, by the way, was Bubba from um I got it. She's trying to help me out here. Was Forrest Gump. Forrest Gump. And of course, as you know, Robert Townsend was another one. Oh my God! I've been like so busy. Oh, Sarah is here. Says Giggles High Ponds. Sarah, so glad that you could make it. By the way, thank you so much for joining us. Oh, Tug looks like he got it. I will walk 500 miles. Not sure about the math. Yes, the song was 500 miles, and it was um uh I'm gonna be, and I'm gonna be doesn't translate well. So I'm gonna be. Tabs 1,000 miles. That's a I know that's I believe it's a different one. And the Proclaimers, not the Pretenders. Although I think we might be talking about two different things. Lance James says Dan Harmon, if I can dream about you, but it's sung by a fictitious band in Streets of Fire. And they are a very good fictitious band. And and I'm going to move on to because Tug got it, and I'm sure many of you, others of you did too. I am going to move forward to number 2. Okay, more math. 4 seasons, parentheses, quarter annual periods of adoration. I shall repeat. 4 seasons, parentheses, quarter annual periods of adoration, close parentheses. Indy Spud says 847 kilometers is 526 miles. I don't get it. Oh no, 800. Now you got me. No, it's 804.7. 804.7. So it would be 804.7. If I said 847, I forget. There's a decimal point there. I'm sorry. Actually, there already was. There's a zero in there between the 8 and the 4. So, Indy, I'm sorry. Give yourself a penalty point for the my flock. Oh, she's dropping links. That's so nice. And John Doe says, connection is bad. By time you might see this, I'd be gone. If you've left, very, very sorry. Thank you, John, so much for joining us. Love the question, by the way. Thank you. By the way, that's another thing, by the way, you and Dan and everyone else, if you want to pop questions into the links, that sounds like a lot of fun. Bring your own trivia questions. That's great. I'll try to answer them as well as anyone else will address the floor. And again, thank you for the documentaries. They were great. I appreciate it. And I lost. And my flock. Again. Let's just see. Looks like the Unapologetic Geek. If you could drop links for Wajameen and Kevin from the entertainment headquarters, truly appreciate it. Shannon says, no clue about this one. 4 seasons. Indy Spout says, I guess that explanation is I guess that explains the confusion. Yes, and I apologize. Tug says winter, spring, summer, fall. All you have to do is call. Great guess, but no. Dan says, question, a group of people who confiscated the place where they live with a type of music. Ooh. Oh! He answered my question with a question. So I'm going to, Dan, hold that thought for just one more second. I'm going to read this question again one more time. 4 seasons, quarter annual periods of adoration. Quarter annual periods of adoration. And oh, you're very welcome, Kevin. Oh, Chance is here. The Nostalgia Pop last year says hi, Thrash and Chet. So glad you could make it. Thank you very much for joining us. Please, Sarah, drop a link for Pod Blast as well, and a link for yours. Pretty Please Sugar on top. But anyway, I'm going to say that Dan got that one. It's a tricky one. It was 525,600 minutes. And the rest of the song is Seasons of Love. Get it? Quarter annual. And that's, of course, is from the Rent soundtrack. So, yes, Dan, you answer my question with a question, and the answer to your question is Rent. Well played, my man. And let's just see here. Oh, number 1. And this one shows my commitment to the bit. Okay. Stay with me. Number 1 question is, many variety of below average size mammals congregating en masse in a cavern, rocking out with a prehistoric Scotsman. Mrs. Thrash is laughing hysterically in the other room. I shall repeat. Many variety of below average size mammals congregating en masse in a cavern, rocking out with a prehistoric Scotsman. And if you want to just give the group, I don't blame you. It's like you'll get carpal tunnel typing the answer out there. Indy Spot says, I've never felt more straight. Lisa Field is here. Just wanted to say hi. Visiting my son and family. Lisa, that's so nice you to join us, by the way. Thank you. We're all having an attack of the sillies. But very, very thank you very, very much for coming by. You can always play the game in replay. Broku says rock lobster. How did you get rock lobster out of that? Lobster's not even a mammal. Let's just see. Brogus. Oh, you were. No, it wasn't rock lobster. I think people have actually thrown in the towels. Oh, boom! Indy said Roger Waters. And it's Indy for the win. Yes, it's the Roger Waters written song for Pink Floyd. Several species of small furry animal gathered together in a cave grooving with a pict, which I believe is off Amagama. I believe Indy. Is it Amagama? It's been like many years, but thank you. And oh, Melissa Foster's here. Says hi, Thrash and all. Melissa, so great you could make it. Sean says to Indy, I don't know. I think you got a lot of these right here. Well, we seem to have lost a little steam towards the end because you guys were like fire. You guys were gangbusters for the first few, and I had to throw a couple of tough ones in there. Gary Kemper says the lunar eclipse is going on now. I thought it didn't start until that's right, because it has to sweep through. We're getting it Tuesday or Wednesday, I want to say. We are getting here in Cape Cod. I'm going to cheat and not use the special glasses. Tug says, "Wow, stumped on the Pink Floyd song. I need a mark of shame. It was an early song. No worries." Derek Gumma says, "Oh, look, we already look what's going on right now." Oh, it is Amagama is correct. Thank you. I used to have that album. I used to have the album. I had it on vinyl, and someone stole it from me when I was in college. Um, long involved story. Faults on both sides. Dan says, question: Amor, Little House. Amor, love on Little House. Love on Little House. Amando, I think was her name, husband's name. Are you doing like a song title? Oh, love cabin, love shack, love. I see. I see where you're going now. You were throwing out a question the way I got you. Yes, love shack. Very good. Wow, I got that without even playing. I'm still so impressed that you got the whole you answered rent with rent. Technically, very well played. And Dan says, no, Love Shack. Well, I got there in the end. Yeah, I had to realize what I was doing before I could answer. And my folks says, hit that thumbs up, share out, and comment after the show, please. And thank you. What she said. Yeah. Little Kevin says, so Love Shack becomes Love Shack. Exactly. Daryl John says, hey, MF, I believe it's my flock. Or Mother Phillips. Sean says to Dan, I echo that. No Love Shack, one of the most overplayed songs ever. Let me guess, you went to a lot of roller rinks back in the early 80s. Oh, by the way, because you wonder what I'm drinking, Polar grape soda. I found, and if any of you guys have Ocean State job lots in your area, even if you can find Polar soda in your area, it's very difficult to get the grape in anything other than diet. Ocean State job lot has become my connection. They have it's not in the bottles, it's only in the 6-pack cans, but they sell the 6-pack cans for like $1. So I'm binging before I start my diet. In everything, actually. Justin says, I'm not a Dark Side of the Moon fan. Some chick singing one note for 3 minutes. I don't get it. Not for everybody. I understand. Lance is telling Lisa he's okay and thanking her. Tug says, I got there about 6 milliseconds before Thrash. Gary says, I've got one. This person is everywhere and nowhere. Ooh. This person is everywhere and nowhere. If I'm this person, I'm everywhere and nowhere. I got nothing. And Ted says, I'm good, long day, so I'm ready for curl up in bed and call it a night, but I couldn't miss Thrash. And Tug, thank you very much. I couldn't tell you how happy I am that you made it a point of coming here tonight. And I had so much fun on your show today, by the way, talking about robots. And I can't wait for those future projects, too, by the way. Those sound like so much fun. I am going to call it a little early, and I'll tell you why. I'm not going to be able to make it myself tonight. Another early day tomorrow. But Dave Sundstrom is having his one of the guys movie retrospect chat shows, and it's going to start at 9. So I'm going to let everybody bail here who's going to go on there because I don't want to run roughshod. But I want to. By the way, there've been a couple things I've been meaning to mention. Remember how last show, how incredibly interactive it is, and we were all joking about how it was amazing that I could keep up, such that I did. 1,200 and change comments. You guys were going for the record. 1,200 and change. And I had like 30 viewers at one point. Sean says, not really, but there was a roller rink near me in the 80s. Friends dragged me there about 6 times. Awful. I never liked them anyway, but that's where all the girls my age were going. Again, Mrs. Thrash is laughing. Yeah, you just wanted to buy pot. Get she is correcting me for that one. Of course not, dear. And she loved to skate. Gary Carver says he's a real nowhere. He's a real nowhere man. City is nowhere land. Oh, okay, very good. Oh, and I'm such a Beatles fan too. And I loved that movie when I was a kid. I loved Yellow Submarine. That song, I used to cry when I was 8. Be careful, guys. Melissa says my husband and I had a busy day with spring snowstorm that we got yesterday. We had up to 2 feet. What are you guys in like Vermont or something? Because all we got here is nasty wind and rain. Changed to snow for like 20 minutes last night. The wind went right through you. And pond, I have a duck pond in my backyard, but no snow. But well, 2 feet. Mrs. Thrash was telling me some areas in New England got 2 foots. My folks says, sorry, geek, I missed you. Had a sudden stream, LOL. Lance Chapin says, bye, Thrash. Thanks. Hey, Lance, it was so great working with you today, both times. It's always great having you with us. You take care, get some rest. I will stay in touch. Kevin says, in early February 2024, Variety reported that Tim Burton and Gone Girl writer Gillian Flynn are developing a remake of Attack of the 50-Foot Woman for Warner Brothers Home Media. Again? That they remade that like almost about 30 years ago. Wait, more power to him. Good luck. And Justin jumped off the page, so I'm gonna have to go back a little. Oh, you're welcome. Oh, I'm sorry. You're nowhere on your way to no place. Stephanie from Santa Fever. Oh, Teb's like, good night, Thrash. Hey, Teb, take care of yourself. Thank you so much for joining us. Again, thanks for all the updates on Facebook. You're like my human fact checker, and we really appreciate you. Take care of yourself. Texas, no worries. Sorry, I haven't caught one of yours yet. My Flux says, congratulations, Pawns. And Lance like, sorry, Melissa. Yeah, parts of New England were really, really badly hit. And Darrell reminds everyone to hit the like button. Yes, we still got 20 people in the house and only 16 likes. Kevin said, I never saw the original, but found it interesting news. It actually is. I love the fact that they're still remaking some of those old schlocky 50s drive-in movies. There was like there was a renaissance of that a while ago. I really wish they would keep doing that. I think that they're fun and clever and nostalgic. And you might find this hard to believe. I'm a nostalgic person. Indy Spout says, but who doesn't love a moonlight skate? You mean like a bottom feeding ray in the moonlight? It was the best I could do on such short notice. When I was conceptualizing a Cape Cod themed superhero show when I was a kid, the superhero was Horseshoe Crab Man, and his sidekick was named Skate. And it was Horseshoe Crab Man and Skate. And Skate, in addition to having a skate themed sidekick, he went around on roller skates. Get it? And skate. I was a teenager. What do you want from me? I thought that was clever. Dan says, question. Not today or tomorrow, but this was before. Not today or tomorrow, but this was before. Not today or tomorrow, but this was before. That was then and this is now. That doesn't really add up, but the fun elements are all there. And my flux says giggle pawns. Oh, Big Box is here. Big Box is here and says, "Who am I?" Slashes something out. I'm Saul Goodman. Did you know you have rights? Because the Constitution says you do. Um, Big Box, welcome to the party. You're a fan of Breaking Bad, so far you're on the right track. Welcome to the show. We're just wrapping things up here, but uh, again, Breaking Bad fans are always welcome. Melissa Foster says that's the most that we got compared to the total snowfall all winter. I know I haven't had a lot of snow this winter. Haven't had a lot of snow. Lance Chafin says, Sarah, see you next stream. Okay, have me on. Oh, that's nice. And Gary Carpenter says, au revoir, arrivederci, adios, ciao, and sayonara, everyone. Gary Carpenter, peace and chicken grease. And be good, be safe, and be careful, and all that sort of rot. My Flux giving us another link. Thank you. Tug says, I want the remake of The Brain That Wouldn't Die. I am all in. Gary Cameron says the original 50-Foot Woman I didn't care for. It's a terrible movie, but the fact that they're still remaking it, I think, is absolutely amazing. Kevin says it's funny, Thrash. When we did the Them review, I mentioned the remake of that and what other 50s classic they may make. I never expect this to be next out of the classics from that era. Is that where I heard that before? I was because when you mentioned it was ringing a bell. So I had heard it before. You had mentioned it before. And Big Buck says, nor heard of The Brain That Wouldn't Die. Have seen Man with Two Brains. Man with Two Brains with Steve Martin is a very, very funny movie. That's sort of made in the spirit of those old schlocky movies. The Brain That Wouldn't Die is a schlocky movie. There's an MST3K treatment for it. If you like MST3K, I bet you could find it on YouTube. And my vlog says Delenn says checking. Okay. And Big Buck says message retracted. The message retracted to you too. John says Gary could have at least said goodbye. He said everything but. And I'm just gonna skim down. A lot of people saying hello to Big Bucks. Liz Chafin suggests Die Hard. Dan says Pawns. The answer was yesterday. Yesterday, all my troubles seem so far away. So the day before today. I got not today nor tomorrow, but as in one of the three, I got you now. I was thinking too linear, I think, and Big says Quaid, see you at the. I'm not sure, but what he said. And Gary Carpenter says, I just love Van Helsing. Who doesn't? And Big Buck says MST3K riff tracks. Yes. I love riff tracks. In fact, one of the best things my wife, Mrs. Thrash, ever gave me was it's the riff tracks edition of Night of the Living Dead. Night of the Living Dead is one of my favorite sci-fi horror movies of all time. I know it's low budget, I know it's schlocky, but I love that movie. And their rendition of MST3K when they did Night of the Living Dead is priceless. I think I've watched it probably 30 times. My Flex says, good night, everyone. Yeah, good night to you, Sarah. So glad you could make it. Oh, and by the way, I was catching up on your post today. You put some great stuff out there. I absolutely love it. I love the random memes and whatnot. Melissa says, I would like to see a remake of Dementia 13, a very good B-rated horror movie. I think that as a noir and who done it, I think it holds up. It wasn't a particularly high budget film, and I believe they get most of the money from Guinness, but it is a really good movie. Dan says, I'm out of here. Have a great week, Pawns, and everyone here. Dan, thank you so much for joining us. Sorry I could do better on your trivia questions, but please bring more. I promise I will always try. Sometimes I'm not on my best game because sometimes I'm trying to answer questions and I'm like, my mind is like, I'm doing like three things at once. But thank you for bringing them, and I always love it. And I will continue to play them. Thanks so much. And Kevin says, we need a modern remake of Earth and the Flying Saucer. We certainly do. We certainly do. A lot of people, Lance saying goodnight, Gary saying goodnight. Big Buck says, I want a proper Day the Earth Stood Still. Keanu's remake doesn't count. It does not count. I don't consider it canon. I consider it something that should be fired out of a canon. I hated that movie. And I'm not trying to be mean. I love Jennifer Connelly too, but that movie was terrible. But anyway, what do we got left? Ooh, we still have 15 people watching. You guys are so amazing. Oh, and Gary says, a big box. I've got the original on videotape. Wow. I have a lot of videotapes myself, actually. And he says, you have one. It was made in 1951. Oh, I think he wants a proper remake. You can actually do a reboot of a movie and do it well. Again, as we were talking earlier, I think the reboot of Shogun is better than the original. I thought the Hammer remake of 1 Million BC is better than the original. Sometimes remakes can surpass the original. They're rare, but they can. Uh, he goes on to say, OMG, imagine a multi-million take on Plan 9 from outer space. Speaking, and I recommend you go to my channel and I do a top 10 list of supposed influences to Night of the Living Dead, and the number one influence to Night of the Living Dead is Plan 9. I think if there was no Plan 9, there would be no Night of the Living Dead. You'll have to watch the post to see why. And anywho, well, again, I just want to say, folks, what do we get now? Oh, it's still, you know what? It's only 8:30. I'll go for a couple of minutes. Any last minute questions or suggestions for upcoming projects? I would love to hear. Gary says Plan 9 should be remade. It was done as a musical, as a stage play a few years ago. And when I say a few, I mean like 20 or 30. Oh, and Indy's Boat says, after the good science fiction remakes, simply ratchet up the horror elements of the story. Um, that's actually something. They tend to not so much sci-fi horror movies. They try to put more and more action in them, and I think while you always want some action in those types of movies, too much will actually detract from it. Oh, and Kevin says it's now 12:30, so it's best for bedtime for me. Night to you, Thrash, and everyone watching once again. It has been fun to see you all soon again. Look out for Thrash being backed on the Entertainment Age Quarters soon. Thank you. Definitely. And Big Buck says, at least they remade the OG version in the Ed Wood film. And Mike and Kathy are here. I'm just wrapping up now, Mike and Kathy, but I'm so glad you guys could make it. Thank you for joining us. Mike and Kathy says, I like Blade Runner 2049 more than the original. It's a great film. It's a great film. I don't know if I like it better than the original, but it's a great film, so I can certainly understand you there. The civilian says, anyone ever watch Nine? I watched Play Nine when I worked at the video store. I used to put it on the in-store play system on Halloween. Watch it several times. Shana says, to Thrash Pondapons, what is your quest? What is your favorite color? What is the average airspeed of a swallow? African or European? My quest is to find the grail, and my favorite color is pink. No, blue. And I answered those out of order, so forgive. But just playing as best I can. Daryl says a remake of Plan 9 wouldn't be good. The original isn't good. Gary Cameron says, I think Vampira was jealous of Elvira. I couldn't agree with you more. Indy Spout says, those are bad remakes, bub. 1 Million BC was a bad remake? Really? I'm sorry. I like the Hammer remake better, but there have been plenty of bad remakes. I will give you that. Mike Kelly says, "Yo, leave and just got here." Yeah, we're wrapping up early tonight because Dave has a show, and a lot of people are going to be going onto that show. So sorry. Get. Oh, by the way, a lot of people were asking me if I was planning on doing a show next Sunday because it's Easter. I think I'm probably am. We don't really do much here. And so I think I will be still having my regular show next Sunday. And maybe a couple of surprises. But Mike and Kathy, I'm very, very sorry. Hey, you can always watch in replay. A lot of people saying hi to Mike and Kathy. Indie Spouts, African or European. A lot of people saying hi to Mike and Kathy. Big Buck says Mike and Kathy does a hilarious review of Blade Runner PC game. Clive 11 does a very hilarious review of Blade Runner. And Sean says, I don't know that. Yes, and you got to know these things when you're king. Has anyone seen Spamalot? I guess that there's a new production of it, by the way. Why they haven't made that into a feature film is still beyond me. You know, they knew the producers, but Spamalot. And he says, science fiction where they increase the action are uniformly bad, Bob. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, a little bit of action in a sci-fi movie enhances it, or even a fair amount. But when it's all action, like for example, Time Machine, the Time Machine remake, there's a chase scene in the Time Machine remake at a time where we could really use exposition, and the chase went on for so long, I found myself nodding off. You know, when a chase sequence goes on so long that you start to get like tired, it shouldn't. And Gary says 1 million with Raquel Welch was good. Okay, so we have one team Hammer remake. Sean says to Indy, Thrash said if we had any questions, yes, and those are all good questions and from the meaning of life. Mike Cathy says, how many The Thing versions were there? Okay. There was Thing from Another World. There was John Carpenter's The Thing. There was the Thing prequel. Why do I think there was something else that I'm just not... Oh, you sly devil. There was Horror Express. That's all right, guys. Let's position here. I actually do a post in my content channel, which I'm always begging you guys to watch. And there's one where I talk about Horror Express with Peter Cushing and Christopher Lee, and I discuss the fact that it is very reminiscent of The Thing because it too is loosely based on the John Christopher novella Who Goes There. So very, very thank you. You actually made my night. It shows that you actually have watched some of my content. Thank you. So I'm gonna say 4. Big Buck says there's the 50s thing, the 80s 2 or 3. The comic series, the game sequel, and the prequel. I thought we were just talking films. And Gary Carpenter says some remakes are good. And Big Box says Linkara does review of The Thing comics. Don't remember the comics. Short loaned itself very nice at the comics. And Sean says, not, but I should. A friend of mine talks to Eric Idle all the time on Twitter. To the point of annoyance. Apparently, Idle did not get a lot of credit for MP work. He's actually also, apparently in an interview, he says that he is actually broke. He's had to sell his house. He's still working into his 80s. He hinted the implication is the spam a lot production is because he needs the money, which I find very sad. He's brought so much joy to so many other people. But therein is that. Mike and Kathy say Bullet was the best chase. Gary Cameron says Horror Express was really good. Love it. I absolutely love it. Spanish film, you know. Big Buck says, I bet every Python guy had their hang-ups. What legend? You're probably absolutely right. And his says, John Campbell, Bob. I said John Christopher, didn't I? Yes. I'm sorry, John Campbell. I'm sorry, John Christopher wrote something else. I can't think off the top of my head, but yes, the name is John Campbell. Thank you for correcting me. It when I was saying it, it didn't sound right, and that's why because I was wrong. And Big Buck says, legendary group doesn't. And Mr. Wilkins says, Bob, what was your favorite Indiana Jones movie? Honest to God, honest to God, probably the original. Probably Temple of Doom. I loved Last Crusade. And it was I thought it was very slick and funny, had just right of action. But I think the original is my favorite. And Sean says to Big Bucks, I guess they constantly joke about John Cleese doing anything for a dollar. Even John Cleese jokes about it. At one point, he actually owned one of the biggest commercial companies in the United States making advertisements. Gary Cameron says It Came From Beneath the Sea is really good, and they haven't done remakes. Yes, you are correct. They haven't. Mike and Kathy says, I like the third Indiana Jones movie the best. Last Crusade, very, very good. But to me, I think the original narrowly edges that out. Oh, and look who's again, someone else here, just in time to say goodnight. John H. John, so glad you could make it, John. He says, Idol called it an offer I couldn't understand. I thought the show was unwatchable its last season. Dan. That's a great quote. Oh, and John Orchard is here. He says, Hey, Thrash, just checking in to show my support. Thank you so much. I am so ashamed. I didn't get back in touch with you last week. So sorry. Tomorrow is another day. I want to thank you for coming. Again, we're just wrapping things up now. Anywho, thank you so much for coming and showing your support. And I'll try to get in touch with you this week, if for no other reason than to say hi. But again, by the way, while we're on the subject, do you have any more posts coming up? I think I saw your last post, but that was a couple weeks ago, which is actually what I wanted to talk to you about when I emailed you. But anyway, while we're on the subject, let me know if you have any more projects coming up soon. Gary Carpenter also likes Last Crusade. A lot of people saying hi to John, both Orchard and John H. And he says, I remember John Christopher wrote, Thank you. Thank you. Yes, he wrote the tripods, which I have all three of them. In fact, they're on the bookcase over my bed. So that's what I was thinking of. I went out and I bought the trilogy because this is a true story. I went down, I was visiting my father in Raleigh, and their PBS station was airing the Tripods BBC TV series. And I only caught a couple of episodes because I was only down there for a visit, but I fell in love with it. They never had it up here. We never carried it at the video store. So I spent years trying to get my hands on this BBC series. Again, I got the book. I read the books, loved the books. And briefly, right here on YouTube, briefly, this is only a couple years ago, they had the entire BBC series on YouTube, and I didn't like it because once I read the books, the TV show seemed silly. But thank you for helping out there, Indy, as always. And Big Box says Cleese is in a lot of stuff, many big, some small, like Starship, Titanic, a part of Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy series. Clive 11 reviews that too. Oh, gotta check out this Clive 11. And Gary says, Big Buck, John Cleese was on The Muppet Show. He was. And he was playing up his characterization from Faulty Towers. He was basically in character the whole time. Big Buck says, Cleese is a British version of Nicolas Cage. I can see that. And says, thanks for the trivia, Bob. Peace out. You're very welcome. John H. says, Cleese was in Rat Race, which was a good approximation of it's a Mad, 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 Mad World. It is. It was like a remake of a Mad, 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 Mad World. Then Big Buck says, Cleese is in Rat Race. Felt needless, but not unwanted. Well stated. Well, he was bookended. He was only on the front in the beginning. And Sean said, I love all the Monty Python players. And John Orcher says, "Hey to Sean and hey to and again hey to you guys." And again, I think we're gonna wrap things up here because we're getting to the quarter mark. Again, a lot of you will probably go to Dave's show. If not, either way, have a great night. I want to thank you guys so much for joining us tonight. I love doing these shows. I love your enthusiasm, you guys, your interaction, the effort you put in. I think you guys put in more effort into these shows than I do, and it means a whole lot to me. Again, we will be doing a show next week, same time, 7:30, and I might have another surprise for you for next week. But anyway, until then, be good, be safe, be careful, and I'm looking forward to seeing you all again very, 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 very soon. Peace.